immovable long-range artillery in the Xerath.
And we've seen sort of Xerath fall out of the meta here just a little bit, Papa Smithy. Why do you think during now the 5.7 patch that is he not being played? As I mentioned that, the switch over to Orianna does come through, and this champion has most definitely been played in 5.7. The control mages seem to have a lot of room to move in this patch.
The danger of talking about picks before they're locked in.
I know, it's
all
what
of
I do
them were
every time.
But they weren't silly ones. We didn't see the Teemo, however, probably not going to see the Teemo mid come out in this particular situation.
Oh, and Olaf's going to be coming through this game, Papa Smithy.
But I mean, Orianna in general, the control mage for all metas, now the Athenes making her even stronger. The indirect buffs that she's gotten through Athenes, just giving so much mana regen, and her in particular as a champion that puts out shields, that has utility in terms of her dissonance, is always picking up the assists, so it just makes her that much in the meta. And she was always strong against assassins. LeBlanc versus Orianna, a very traditional matchup to be seeing in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Orianna actually does fantastically well against LeBlanc in that matchup, theoretically at the same time. Of course, we've seen it go either way, but Orianna generally does fairly well. That Command Protect being very useful in the early stages of the game. But what I want to talk about is ball carrying coming through from our hard random lineup, because a burrowing Rek'Sai or a twisting advanced Maokai coming through, that is just incredible gap close with the ball on top, can really get you into the right positions for that shockwave.
And crazily, you won't normally talk about this, but when you have the Kalista Janna synergy, Janna can wade into the middle of the fight. She's already very quick. Often we do see Jannas, when they have a Kalista, actually getting quite aggressive. And you use the Fate's Call defensively just to let her peel to the back of the fight and use her utility in the backline, even if she's hit low health. So Janna wading to the middle, definitely not a traditional ball carrier, but an option when you have the Fate's Call for the reposition of the support.
Yeah, and you could sort of wipe out a few team members, and then when Janna decides, okay, I've had enough of this, monsoon everyone out of there.
I mean, she doesn't actually have control. She can communicate to her AD carry, but the Kalista player definitely wears the pants in this relationship.
Yeah, it's generally how it works down there on the bottom side. We do apologize to all support mains that get thrown into fights or just picked up and then have to throw themselves out.
You could angrily ask to be Fate's Called, but you can't make that move.
They are on voice communication, Papa Smithy. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. But ladies and gentlemen, we are about to hop onto the rift for Hard Random versus KLG, our first matchup of day 2 of the International Wildcard Invitational. We'll see how this one works out. Of course, Kira did have the opportunity to pick up that Diana again, and now going to be taking Orianna into this matchup. And we'll see how this one goes. Of course, Diana, does she have more of a difficult time against LeBlanc? Why wouldn't they pick it again?
Of all the laning options, I prefer the Orianna, but coming back to the Diana, you kind of have to go for a weird skill max. We already see people putting multiple points in Pale Cascade as KLG really getting feisty at level 1. They have the Thresh, they have decent pick options, but they're looking for very deep vision. They must be scouting for a potential lane swap.
Yeah, they've got some deep vision down here. Symphony going to head into the jungle on the other side of the map. They are going to be able to pick up a ward down there to spot out the potential lane swap. Hard Random already there on the bottom side. Kalista Janna already making it to that lane. Of course, no ward's going to be spotting them just yet. We'll see whether they are going to be heading back to base, as it does seem like standard lanes may ensue. And I wonder who was actually looking for the lane swap if it is going to come through. As Lex and Demonco, they're heading back, and it looks like Hard Random don't want this Sivir Thresh lane.
I think Kalista Janna in general are looking to avoid the Sivir Thresh lane. It's not an unwinnable matchup for Kalista. Kalista is deceptively strong at level 1, depending on what ability she skills. So could go for the Pierce, add some extra AD from the Eye of the Storm shield, and get a good burst trade. Can go for the Rend, again, add in the shield and just go for a long sustained DPS trade.
Yep.
But there's more downside than some Kalista lanes. Definitely not Kalista Kennen when it comes to lane presence. So it looks like Kalista's doing her best to dodge the lane swap, and with the warding and the safe zones on the map, actually manages to do that.
Yeah, they are going to be able to do it. And another reason why they may have looked for this lane swap is, of course, to try and keep down this Hecarim, who hasn't taken Smite this time around.
I mean, you have to remember that it is Hard Random who have opted into the lane swap in this situation. So yes, it does look like that's a possibility. Hecarim is able to still jungle. It's interesting to see that some teams kind of disagree on whether to take the Smite or not. Ignite, Smite. Ignite. I prefer the Smite over the Ignite personally, just because it gives you more flexible options, but it doesn't have the same impact at the early levels, where if someone turret dives you and you don't have the challenging Smite yet because you haven't bought the Smite item, or if you haven't started with the Razor, then it makes sense that the Ignite might be useful, but as the game goes on, challenging Smite just becomes that much more useful.
And I guess as a Hecarim, you're going to get to that Trinity Force power spike just a little bit earlier, and sort of seeing these teleport Ignite Hecarims come back, you sort of notice that around sort of the 20-minute mark, a Hecarim's doing a ridiculous amount of damage.
I can follow that logic. It's just that challenging Smite is such a unique thing, and Cinderhulk in general builds so well that you're getting, basically the thing about Hecarim is definitely wants a Trinity Force at some point.
Yep.
It's kind of awkward when you have just a Trinity Force and boots, in that if you misfire on that ultimate, it's flashed away for whatever reason, you can't get the massive engage with the Onslaught of Shadows. You can be deceptively squishy, you just might not be able to fulfill a teamfight frontline role. Sometimes you have Hecarim as a front man, you're just a sole tank, and you really struggle to make Hecarim viable. But going for that Cinderhulk, just having the ability to throw on the challenging smite makes you more reliable, and it makes your feudal itemization that much more reliable with the extra health scaling. So to me, I'm a big fan of this smite, but I can understand if you're not comfortable with it, or your team doesn't know how to play around the lane swap and what the challenging smite opens up, the Ignite is a very apt choice.
Yeah, and you definitely like smooth power curves as well as
smooth moves.
We're checking out Serian, watching it with the Tibbers pillow here as well. Fantastic, as Bear's going to take a whole lot of damage here on the top side of the map. Going down low, 100 health. First blood goes to Callista. That is a nightmare here for KLG as Helior. He's going to follow up after the Ren set comes through, as Lex is going to get stuck on some minions. Man, minion block is awful, but he's going to be still happy because that's first blood.
Yeah, the minion wave was very friendly with Thresh, it seemed like, in that particular game. Tried to conspire for Lex to go down, but look at this hard random. We already know that they initiated the lane swap. They've already punished the Thresh in this situation, so they get Hecarim to be accountable in a 1v2 lane, and they pick up first, but hard random just got everything they wanted from the level 1.
Yeah, and Helios actually gone back, picked up boots as well as that Doran's Blade. So interesting, sort of more of a new item build path here. Doesn't have a flask, and I don't know whether I necessarily like it.
I mean, Doran Blade makes you very strong at level 1, but over sustained trades, if you have any sort of lane harassment, in this particular case against a 1v2 lane where you're going to invariably take auto attacks from 2 ranged opponents, I agree, you probably do want the regen. Again, it suggests to me that they were desperately looking for the 1v1 lane. Maybe they could gank for it, and of course Doran Blade's stats so relevant in a gank with your jungle when you have the extra health and AD coming through from the Doran Blade. But didn't get through with it, and they've been punished.
Yeah, they most certainly have, as Smurf is having a fine time there on the bottom side of the map. 23 CS to the 15 of Helior. He's going aggressive. Demonco is going to get charged here. Juliusito flashes forward. There's the Eye of the Storm to try and keep Demonco alive. It's the last second to do it. It is, as Helior picks up the kill. Lex now in so much trouble. Red buff coming down. It's going to be the Ren to try and get him out of there, but yep, that barrel going to explode you, Callista, and that is going to be a second kill here for KLG.
Take a bow, Juliusito. What a wonderful play coming through from the Gragas. The flash, the body slam into flash covered so much distance. I didn't even know that you could do quite that much gank pressure, but got the burst kill and then leveled up, got second point in barrel, and just sniped him with the base damage of the barrel. Wonderful gank coming through, and it undoes a lot of the hard work from hard random in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, really beautiful play, and I wasn't expecting that level of burst damage to come through from that barrel, and must be exactly your point there. Putting that extra point in there is really going to do it. And said point there a couple of times, but of course, ladies and gentlemen, it was different context, so it made a little bit of sense. Symphony now is going to attack this Rift Scuttler, and we'll see whether Zycro is going to have anything to say about it.
So let's come back actually to the interaction of, as we saw, I believe Shockwave just...
Oh, it's coming through now. There's the Ignite coming down as well. Clockwork Windup is just going to pop the passive as Reggie down to about 200 health, but is going to be safe. Bear doesn't quite find the death sentence as KLG looking for a dragon.
Spotted out by a ward, and Symphony's definitely around the area, but Juliusito has a level advantage. It should be a fairly free dragon, because remember, the hard random bottom lane is at the top side of the map. They've got more members. It's outnumbered. They might be harassed for it, but it should be the first dragon to KLG.
Yeah, Kira actually with the Shockwave and Ignite on cooldown now as well. Not a whole lot of impact to be had by that Orianna heading forward, but Reggie's very, very low. Juliusito might actually be in a little bit of trouble here, but Symphony may come around. We'll see whether they're going to contest this dragon. Down to about half health now as Symphony is going to come through. Preyseeker going to find Juliusito, and Zycro getting in there, doing some damage as Bear's trying to take this one up. There's the flash on Burrow. Smurf comes through as well, but the ult comes down as Zycro somehow made it to level 6. Symphony taking damage from the dragon, from Zycro, from Bear. So much action, but Reggie is going to pick up Kira from the backside. Symphony falls down in the end And KLG, they'll just return their attention to the Dragon.
That was a really poor strategical decision from Hard Random. We noted the fact that the top lane contained the bottom lane for Hard Random because the lane swap had been enacted. They had less members on the bottom side of the map. Give away the first dragon. The immediate value of first dragon is always a bit dubious. 6% more of not much is still not much, Atlas.
Yeah.
So just give away that first dragon buff. Even though the snowball begins with that, it's not worth giving up 2 kills bonus to go with the dragon.
Yeah, Demonco hanging out in the brush here on the top side of the map as Helios is going to come through. Multiple monitors coming up on our screen. Beautifully done stuff by Jonesy. Excellent work. A little bit off on the old angle, but maybe that's on purpose. We'll see how that one comes through. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head back into the game. Kira is going to be able to take down a blue buff for himself. Of course, Oriana pretty keen on getting a whole bunch of that mana, and it's going to be the same thing over on the other side of the map as Julio Stito is going to pick up his.
And we've seen this Oriana versus LeBlanc matchup a couple of times. The Chiefs actually winning on both sides of the map. Swiffer managed to actually win as Oriana and LeBlanc in the reverse matchup, which says a lot about Swiffer and his skill on those champions. But it also shows that although Oriana has the advantage, and look at the CS, actually is winning by 17 CS at 8 minutes, which is quite handily, as you mentioned. We usually expect LeBlanc to hit a point where she is able to burst out or at least get decent burst trades, especially with blue buff and the Mimic Distortion onto the Oriana. But in the early levels, just the innate tankiness, the fact that the ball gives that extra 10 armor and magic resist, makes it hard for LeBlanc to get the lead in lane that she kind of needs to justify her pick on patch 5.7.
Yeah, it hasn't come through just yet. There is still time here for Reggie to move around this map, maybe pick up some kills. The Symphony might be the first option here as she tunnels away.
For once, the chains aren't long enough.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah, exactly right. It is pretty difficult to break those chains a lot of the time. But not going to happen this time as Symphony is going to survive. Kira continues to push out this wave. Reggie now holds it underneath the turret. Mimic's Distortion is going to be able to clear these ones out as Kira not going to be able to follow too much, and Reggie needs to kill this pesky minion that's following him to the blue buff.
You have to worry about LeBlanc a bit in this particular game just because you look at the enemy comp from Hard Random. If you don't get snowballing and you're not Swiffer tier 15 kill LeBlanc, you're going to get punished trying to get any poke down on the likes of Maokai, who can just twisted advance the moment he sees you distort in aggressively. You're already going to struggle in lane against Oriana, who usually goes even or better and then has better late game scaling and more utility than the LeBlanc. You feel like Reggie really needs to get his roam on. You saw he went for that aggressive move onto Symphony. Keep doing that. Keep looking for picks. The one thing that KLG have really looked for in the mid game, they have the on the hunt for rotations. They have the pick power of the likes of Thresh and LeBlanc, who are very reliable pick. And hell, there's always the potential of pick coming through from Julio Stito on the Gragas, who has multiple displacement options. You need to use this comp from KLG in the mid game, because if you're even or better as Hard Random, you should be able to take this in the late game just with all your scaling.
Yeah, and they're passively coming back into this one as well. You can see the gold lead is actually shrinking here on the side of Hard Random. You have to think that has a lot to do with that mid lane, 20 CS in the lead. And of course, the bottom lane as well. Smurf farming up a storm as Kira's going to protect himself. Doesn't quite land the command attack, and tanking up these minions going to mean that Oriana does not want to be attacking too much. But we'll see how the Hard Random mid laner goes, because of course Kira, very aggressive shockwaves early on, and now has the Ignite and the ultimate available. And
Smurf is benefiting from the fact that this is 1v2 Maokai, has so much ranged wave clear, happily can throw out the saplings, has the Arcane Smash on a short cooldown with good base damage, and Helio, he's a 350 range at most champion in a 1v2. Rampage doubles his effective attack range from 175 to 350, but that's nowhere near the range of the sapling. Doesn't have the smite to go and sneak into the jungle, pick up the Grump for a bit more laning and AoE, pick up the walls for a free camp. Isn't able to leave lane. As Smurf takes some nice harassment, but there's certainly no kill pressure under turret onto the already tanky Maokai.
Yeah, Julio Stito is coming through here. They may be just softening up this Maokai, preparing for a potential dive, but Symphony was there. Preyseeker was seen. He's going to head back, but of course wasn't in vision. We'll see whether more respect is given here to the bottom side of Hard Random's map, just because Symphony was thought to be in the area. Smurf going to back away though, and first turret looks to be going down here for KLG.
What they
really
need to
nice
do.
pressure.
We mentioned rotations. We mentioned getting an early objective advantage to get the most benefit out of their mid-game comp. Hecarim's the only champion on their lineup who really errs towards the late game compared to Maokai. And Maokai's certainly not irrelevant in the late game, as we have frequently seen. So the Hecarim for consistent burst, consistent damage in a fight to complement the burst out of the like of LeBlanc is definitely their late game investment. But the Hecarim already significantly behind the Maokai.
Yeah, not doing as well, but of course KLG as a lineup themselves looking fantastic so far moving forward. 4 and 1, and of course kills across the board, just absent for the support who might pick on up here as Fate's Call is going to be used to get Demonko out of trouble. Gets thrown back into the box though as Zycro does have the ultimate pop, but a nice Howling Gale going to disengage this one as Hard Random looking to get out. And Bear has been hitting some nice death sentences, but just didn't quite manage to find it that time around.
I actually think Hard Random could have really played with their food a bit more. Remember, they had more members around. Symphony was in the brush. It felt like he could have just stuck around and happily got the counter gank on if they just let Janna take a bit more damage or Lexa kind of overextended and caused them to change target onto the Kalista. Of course, if you target... Oh, Symphony.
Yeah, looking for the knock-up here. Doubles to come through as Juliusito looking for a Dark Passage and makes his way out.
The Warrior damage is massive coming through from Symphony. We didn't mention that it's not the Cinder Hulk picked up. They used the top on Maokai.
Yeah, Zycro actually going to flash, but the Twisted Advance going to get him. There's heals popped. Nice spell shield from Zycro going to help out as Smurf tries to dodge the death sentence. Oh, the barrel going to be used as another escape mechanism here for Hard Random after the flash from Smurf. But in from the back is going to be Helior as we check out the river for a moment. But Hard Random look like they'll be able to get out. A Monsoon there as well. So much disengage to come down from both of these teams.
And we saw the river because Orianna was caught by LeBlanc in transition, but who caught who? Look at those health values. Flashing health coming through from the LeBlanc. If she cannot kill Orianna in transition, of course, Orianna at her weakest when she's just walking between objectives rather than having the ball down and already trying to dictate the pace of a lane, things are going to get better for Kira in this lane.
Yeah, and they're continuing to here, as you can see, almost a 30 CS advantage there in the mid side. Hard Random, though, they're falling behind just a little bit. Of course, that tower really doing some work here for KLG as far as that global gold is concerned. They've picked up the first dragon as well. They're looking like they're doing pretty well as far as getting this early advantage going is concerned. But, of course, the late game looking fantastic here for Hard Random. Helios sort of the only, I guess, insurance policy over on the side of KLG.
But Symphony, one thing he's done is he's not gone from the late game focused build. He's going for the early game. He's got the Warrior enchant even on patch 5.7. Even though we've seen a lot of Cinder Hulk Rek'Sai come out as they try and time out the sapling damage, should be able to take up this objective. Bear goes wide with the death sentence. But, I mean, the Warrior suggests to me more damage. Is Kira?
Chain's not going to land there as Reggie does distort back out of there before that one goes off.
We're talking about 4 rotations and still only doing, what, 30% of the Orianna's health at maximum? Things already, as we've said a couple of times, but the item timing is only going to get better for the LeBlanc. And even though they've gone the more aggressive build, you kind of have to go for the cheaper power spike, the higher ability power in the Merolinomicon into the blasting one. Still doesn't have any kill pressure or any real lane control with the inferior wave clear against the Orianna.
Yeah, and does have the Athenes on Holy Grail completed here for Kira as Smurf looking for something here on the bottom side. They're going to come through, seen by a ward as well as Hard Random with 4 members here on the bottom side. Looking to put some pressure on this turret. Lex hanging around with Symphony here. Does have the Bloodthirster completed, so a lot of effective health here for this Kalista. Nice PS to get onto Helior there as well, as Preyseeker not going to find anything. And Hard Random, there is nothing here on the bottom side that they can really contest unless they're going to invade for a red buff, because that dragon just went down and they saw it go down.
But the scary thing about the item timings for Hard Random is they're probably in the ascendancy at this point. Shockwave.
Yeah, Shockwave to come through here onto Reggie as he lands the chain. There's the dissonance, and Kira picks up the kill. The 1v1. And when the control mage is doing that against the assassin, you know something's going wrong, as you've mentioned, Papa Smithy.
On this mini-map, you can see Zycro, meanwhile, has put on an inner turret. This is Warrior enchant Rek'Sai.
Yeah, she's looking for it here as Rek'Sai, as there's the burrow. Preyseeker lands as well. Another knock-up onto Zycro. as Smurf just wants to pick up an assist with that sapling, is going to get it, and the flash is going to secure that one for Symphony.
Just had that much more presence, but I agree with you. Who is the true assassin in the mid lane? At this point in the game, with how the trades have been going, the person with the 100-0 pressure is actually the Orianna because of the more squishier, damage-focused build coming through from LeBlanc, and that's the scary point. You'd say that the earlier power spiking team in a 5v fight with the item timings that we're seeing, Hard Random's probably going to win a team fight for now, and you'd have to think in the late game as well. So unless we see a really big pickup coming through or just a big face check coming through and the pick coming through from the likes of Thresh and LeBlanc, this game should only get better for Hard Random.
Yeah, and Kira, once again, having a massive MVP performance for Hard Random. On the clock, as far as that farm is concerned, ahead by 50 CS at 17 minutes.
I mean, ahead by 33 CS on the next highest person on the map, which is Sivir, who of course had a lot of free time in the top lane, pushing in that top inner turret. Kira's picking up the farm. The ball is going to make Kalista that much harder to snipe out. And the Wombo combo from the Warrior enchant, and now the Righteous Glory and Boots 2 completed by Smurf. Suddenly Dragons, they've got 2 in the pocketbook, but the third Dragon, you have to think, is definitely going to be contested by Hard Random. With these item timings, not getting wards down, not getting pinks down, and fighting for this third Dragon would be a mistake for the CIS representatives.
Yeah, and we'll see whether Hard Random is going to get everyone together and really go for these team fights as well. We've mentioned their Wombo combo multiple times, but it really is quite devastating if they manage to land it correctly, and it has a lot to do with how they're going to win this game.
I mean, the Wombo combo, the burst Wombo is there, and of course, the Kalista is a hurricane away from that being just a disgusting team fight. Everyone bursts to half health. Kalista licks her lips, gets the first kill. Ren sets begin, and things look good for Hard Random. But speaking of looking good, Helios outnumbered.
Yeah, he is. The Righteous Glory going to come through as well, and Helios getting ripped apart. Nice ultimate, going to get the fear, and Helios going to waltz on out of there.
And people ask, why don't you take Flash on Hecarim? It's because of reasons like that. The Onslaught of Shadows is just the best Flash of all. More than double, about 2.5 times the range on that ability.
Oh, they're looking for something here. As there's the disengage to come down as the barrel comes through as well. Kira's going to get taken out though, as Zycro does so much damage. Demonko nets him a double kill as well as Smurfs come around the side. Symphony actually going to get flashed away from here, but Zycro, so much trouble. This Rek'Sai really has his number as KLG. This dive is mammoth as Reggie, a little bit low there on the backside, but Smurf, he's pretty tanky. And he is going to be okay underneath that turret. We'll see whether they continue the dive as this new minion wave comes through. And it looks like KLG, they've got control of this turret. And they're just going to calm down and take that one out.
And KLG doing their best Ints impression. We saw their win yesterday, diving every turret as if they did not exist. Shades of Season 3 Loveling from OMG and his just complete disregard of turrets. They just went for a full-on turret dive. It was 5v2 to start the fight, so they finally took down Orianna, took down the outer turret as well. It was nice, aggressive play, but at least they understand that this is their time to shine. 2,500 gold up. They had the earlier power spike. If it's not now, if they don't continue to monopolize this dragon, the scaling from Hard Random and Kira is really going to be cemented.
Yeah, and we'll see whether that is going to come through, ladies and gentlemen, as Zycro, he's going to be able to clear out this minion wave before the outer turret falls down in the mid. 3,000 gold now, the lead for KLG as they've extended their kills here on the map. Picked up 4 turrets for themselves at the same time. And this objective snowball is really working out beautifully for KLG. And it looks like coming back onto day 2, KLG really came to play.
And we've got Battle of the Item timings coming through. Aegis is now completed for Symphony to match the needlessly large rod that was just completed by LeBlanc. So who will burst hard enough is the big question. Will they stay grouped as a 5 and get that Aegis aura across the team?
Yeah.
In general, the item timings are massive. Orianna looks to be backing. I said Hard Random really wanted to opt into this next dragon fight. It's a bad back timing. She gets a big item in the Zhonya's, but now any hope of getting real vision control around the dragon is gone, and 3 dragons for a Hecarim Sivir comp is just a massive thing to talk about.
Yeah, Dark Passage is going to get Zycro out of trouble there as Smurf did land the Twisted Advance. It is going to be the Rift Scuttler falling down as Julius Ditto is going to pick that one up. Smurf is going to get hooked there, but Zycro gets singled out there on the back line as Lex. Fate's Call is going to be popped, looking for a knock-up as it comes down, but Helios, he gets Shockwave, but takes out the Kalista with the help of LeBlanc. Bear now so incredibly low. Beautiful shield to come down as Symphony. He's not very tanky, and Kira, he's going to fall down as well. Zhonya's, I don't believe, was used as Symphony does pick up the kill again onto Zycro. Zycro's worst enemy this game, but Hard Random, They are coming out on top so far. Oh, Arcane Smash not quite able to pick that one up. Symphony gonna fall down. KLG turning it around as the distortion over that wall. Chains don't land as Smurf. He's completely out of mana, and Reggie with a fair bit of damage still available despite the low mana bar as well. Julius Tito's just auto-attacking in the back as Reggie taking a lot of damage. That's a nice passive proc, but in the end, Smurf's going to fall down.
And Julio Cito got a delayed triple kill in that engage. Was massive with no tank items whatsoever. We can see KLG speeding back to the dragon. Julio Cito has backed, though. They desperately want this third dragon to vindicate their team comp, give them that clear win condition of the 5 dragons against the scaling comp from Hard Random. They're going to get at least a tunnel, but they need their jungler, who now shows up with a locket already, to really answer the Aegis coming through from Symphony.
Yeah, and this is on 11 out of 12 kill participation. Gragas 4-0-7. Incredible performance so far here by Julio Cito. Really looking great as they're going to start off this dragon. Prey Seekers are going to come through. There's a couple of Sentinels just to try and distract the KLG lineup. And that was a very decently timed Howling Gale,
that was actually
not quite in range.
Completely channeled. Would have maybe done enough damage. So we'll see the repeat of this fight. It was a long, drawn-out fight. I thought it would go better for KLG, but they start off with quite scattered in terms of just being geographically. LeBlanc needs to mimic distortion just to get in the fight. It's a nice reverse wombo coming through from the Orianna. KLG fall low. And look at this. Zycro is hitting one person. Julio Cito is on the Orianna. No one else was focusing targets. Eventually, we're left with this situation after Zycro goes down, where it's 2v3 action, but Julio Cito is high health and is already doing so much damage.
Wow.
Look at the burst. Remember, this is against a Warrior Rek'Sai, actually getting out-damaged by the nice damage coming through. Reggie had the ward behind and picked up the kill, but the big takeaway for me is that the Cinder Hulk Gragas was out-damaging the Warrior Enchant Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and it's just ridiculous. And you saw that Symphony, unable to return to that fight as well, just wasn't tanky enough to be able to withstand any of the burst to come through. And basically what Symphony's done is just provided Reggie with another target that he can explode.
And that's kind of the worry coming through. Getting killed even through the likes of the Locket is a problem. And you have to ask, was the early 6 out of 7 kill pressure, was the early extra damage worth the fact that now you are suddenly another assassination target for a LeBlanc that realistically should have looked down this lineup and not really had many options? It should have just been overextending for Lex and then getting punished by the Twisted Advance or another CC coming through. But now one of the frontliners is squishy enough to make the fight an instant 5v4, and that's a problem for Hard Random. They haven't shown they'll be able to fix.
Well, we'll see whether they can, as Smurf, he's very tanky now, does have that Spectre's Cowl available as well, almost the Spirit Visage as the Glacial Shroud already there on top of the Righteous Glory. So this Maokai really getting to a point where he's difficult to deal with. You can see Reggie not actually doing much damage at all. They're pushing up this bottom wave to the inner turret. Lex going to pick up all of that farm under there, but Kira has been just getting destroyed in these teamfights. Symphony might be caught out. Chains aren't going to land as Julius Tito looking for the barrel. Zycro pops the ultimate, though. Chilling Smite is there. Gets explosive cast back. Is he going to die as another barrel comes through? The last auto attack picks it up. Smurf now trying to tank up this KLG lineup as Kira, he is around, doesn't have the ultimate as Demonko gets exploded. Reggie distorts over the wall as Kira does use the Zhonya's. Command Protect is there as well, but the Orianna's going to fall down. Reggie picks up that kill. KLG now chasing through. Julius Caesar
so strong.
He just does not care about anything as Lex, he's going to get double killed by the LeBlanc, and Reggie really starting to get going. The body slam as if that wall doesn't even exist. And Julio Cito, 5-0-10. Get this man a drink.
And man, the Gragas was available in such a late round of picks, but it's been used to such great efficiency. Hard Random over-prioritized the Rek'Sai, went for the Warrior Enchant to try and get early work. Didn't really manage to do it. And Julio Cito, 15 out of 16 kill involvements.
Amazing.
Probably going to stay at that number, near 90+%. Has relevant damage to the Baron with, of course, the Drunken Rage, but they're falling low, and this might be a re-engage.
Yeah, Helio actually in the backside as well, as Symphony's going to knock him up. The horse in a whole lot of trouble as Prey Seeker comes through. Nice slow coming down from that Righteous Glory, and Smurf is going to be able to lock down that kill. There are multiple wards over this wall. Bear in trouble at the same time. Because Hard Random, they're going to start off the Baron.
Yeah, they all backed in Vision. Kalista and Orianna, their 2 damage dealers are not there. Maybe the extra warrior damage will be irrelevant, but they need the Kalista to start auto-attacking it, and the huge Gragas is going to be there when this Baron hits about 5,000 health.
Yeah, Lex is going to come around here as well. Rend into the back of this Baron is going to help out as far as Hard Random's ability to secure this one. Julius Tito, though, he is here hanging out around the outside of this pit as Demonko. He's getting in trouble as Julius Tito looking to go aggressive. Demonko gets exploded. Zycro picks up another kill. Reggie very, very low, but picks up another one as it's the double for Zycro. Symphony not nearly tanky enough as the home guard Hecarim launches into the fray, and Smurf, where have your friends gone, buddy? Another set of kills here for the Gragas. 8-0 and 12. We got to stop talking about this guy's kills, but man, it's impressive.
But the allure of Baron was too strong for both these teams. First, KLG tried to turn their big team fight win in the enemy jungle into a Baron. Just didn't have Baron damage. The Sivir wasn't there and wasn't really being able to provide enough Baron damage. So the contest was good, but then they started Baron while Gragas was just sitting there watching them with 5,000 health left on the Baron. It bought enough time for the team to come. You needed to get off that Baron, either chase away. If Monsoon was up, maybe you could trust the Janna to push away the Gragas, but didn't even have that cooldown. Kept DPSing down Baron, tanking up the Baron, and bought enough time for LeBlanc to come and assassinate people. So the allure of the Baron was too strong for both teams, but the end result, KLG, with their earlier power spikes, with their now 10,000 plus gold lead, take a big advantage in this game.
Yeah, really looking beautiful here for KLG, all off the back of this wonderful Gragas play that we've seen thus far. Let's have a look at the replay here.
Julio just watching it like a voyeur. He's bird watching this one. He's like, the rare Baron. What I always like. Baron's still 3,000 health, still very healthy, but not the members of HR. They'd all fallen low from DPSing down the Baron for a good 20 seconds. And to clean up the home guard teleport, everything works for them. It's a clean ace coming through from KLG and Hard Random. They needed to respect the Gragas and understand that you can't just sit there with an even smite. At best, we're talking about a 50-50. You should never get into those situations at the highest level of competitive League of Legends.
Yeah, especially not when Julius Tito is so incredibly huge in this fight as well and does have that barrel in order to get everyone away from the Baron.
He just doesn't take damage now that he's finished the Frozen Heart.
Yeah.
Super, super tanky. Got the Sightstone in for a bit of extra vision. He's unkillable, and of course Lex needs to get relevant damage through him. Look at this damage roll. We haven't actually noted this, but went for the Blade of the Ruin King seconds, has a lot of lifesteal, but doesn't have Ren set opportunities. Honestly, now that the tanks are this strong, maybe they're not relevant, but doesn't really have any steroids going, and honestly, all this really means is that unless you're going to get blown up by LeBlanc. You're not going to be able to put out sustained damage when Burst is the big thing coming through from the likes of even Sivir, but mostly the LeBlanc.
Yeah, Julius Tito is going to take the Dark Passage out as Zycro is going to pick up the rest of the farm there on the bottom side. KLG looking to siege up this bottom inner turret. The final inner turret left on the map here for KLG to take as these melee minions pretty tough and Hard Random. They just get the hell out of there.
That's the issue coming back to Lex is that I don't see where this build goes from here. That's when people talk about the Hurricane Kalista. It's like, okay, but the third item, is it the Last Whisper? Is it... I mean, the Infinity Edge, because you don't have attack speed and crit, doesn't build as naturally as Reggie.
Oh my goodness, Reggie just deletes Kira there over the wall.
And that's the go button.
Yeah, takes it as his opportunity to get into this one. Fate's Call is going to come out. The nice knockups to come down, but they don't have the Shockwave. Having no Kira is awful as the shutdown does come through. Legendary Julius Tito, though, as Demonko going to fall down. Zycro able to pick up so many of these kills.
Keep diving.
Dives underneath the turret. Dark Passage is available to get the horse out of trouble. Zycro now is going to take his turn tanking up this turret. And Julius Tito is just showing him that, yes, look, I can do it because I, in fact, take no damage at all. And the ace in the end does come through here for KLG. They'll break the base. And the mid lane inhibitor going to be at least what's going to fall down here in the Hard Random base. KLG, though, without an AD carry, not going to be able to end the game just yet.
But so entertaining to watch the turret dives. That's what they do. They're so aggressive. But to the most part, they executed it well. Okay, Zycro maybe needed to be further away from the turret to not take aggro on 200 health. But the go button, you need to go for the dive when Kira dives instantly. The control mage is down. Lex already doesn't have any steroids. It's not going to be DPSing down anyone fast with that particular Kalista build. Go for the fight. And honestly, it was mostly effective, if not quite ending the game.
And this has been one of the most intense carry performances from a jungler that I've seen in a very long time.
Turning the clock back, you'd have to say, with
Yeah.
this 24 out of 26 kill participation, 10 kills, the most assists, actually not the most assists, apologies to Thresh, but still super, super strong. Building up some magic resist now. Probably needs a bit more health just so he can tank the turrets for longer.
Yeah, why don't you have more items, Juliusito? You probably should. That's just ridiculous, Papa Smithy.
Well,
He's already
if you think
got
about
all
this,
of the things.
They're not necessarily been on top of side minion wave control, but it hasn't really been a necessary thing.
That's true.
One of the ways to negate side minion wave control is just go for the dive. They've definitely got the confidence.
Yeah.
They're executing on the dives well. Why not just build more health and armor and just deal with it?
Well, I mean, there's
Shades
also
on.
Deal with it, boys. As there's about 4 minutes until the 5th dragon is available here for KLG. They've already got all 4 that have been taken on this map thus far. The swing of 12% stats coming through from that is huge, as Reggie's going to fall down going for another very aggressive play. And okay.
Maokai is really good at dealing with LeBlanc. We might not have seen that consistently in this game, but that's what can happen. You can just twist it advance onto a LeBlanc when she's trying to overextend to get another assassination. Can understand why Reggie was feeling up to the task after already diving into the base, over the base wall, and picking up the kill to open up that turret dive. They were thinking, all right, get the kill, more turret dives coming. Didn't work out quite that time, but only buys a little bit of breathing room for Hard Random.
Yeah, Hard Random not going to have to deal with, I guess, the instant deletion coming through there, but
for now.
Yeah, for now. And Reggie not really going to miss out on too much, as the lead firmly in the hands of KLG, looking for their first victory.
I mean, they've got so many win conditions. Remember, they had the earlier power spikes, but they've got the 4 dragons to 0.
Yeah.
Not even the 6% stats coming through, which at this point, obviously very relevant to Hard Random, not having those statistics. Win conditions upon win conditions. They've had a Baron already and put it to good use. Not quite breaking the base, but everything else. I mean, they have broke the base from the turret dive, and they have to think that's going to be the next call. They're just going to wait for enough item timings, ensure that it's Gragas tanking it up between all of his sustain and mounds of health and armor, and just kill everyone.
Yeah, well, Julio Cito has been building full tank, but that guy does more damage than I knew Gragas was capable of, Papa
It was
Smithy.
that first move. I want to return to it because I didn't get a chance to at the time. But we'll talk about the fact that he pulled off the body slam into flash. And that's not the most unlikely thing we've seen. Of course, Shen taunt flash was very popular on him. Canceling that animation and still getting the CC.
Flag and drag
the
flash,
flag and drag is the craziest looking one because he's
so cool.
He's flagging and dragging, and then suddenly he's moved like 45 degrees elsewhere. But the reason why I'm so impressed is that you have to remember, anyone who's tried to do this move, is that if you flash at the wrong moment, you don't get the CC effect, whether it's the slow coming through from the body slam, whether it's the taunt coming through from Shen.
Yeah.
To actually cover as much distance as he did, he basically traveled the maximum range of the body slam, but still flashed at a time relevant. Because, of course, if you body slam and try to cover the most distance possible, you get to a point where if you wait too long, you're just flashing and not getting the CC effect at all.
Yeah, sort
so
of
he
flashing
managed to
and
travel.
going, sup, I'm here.
He literally traveled the most the body slam could, then flashed maximum range and got over a minion wave. It was insane mechanics to get that first kill. And then just knowing the fadeaway barrel, level 2 barrel, will get the second kill. That was sick Julio Stito play.
Yeah, really beautiful. Let's have a look at a replay, though, of that last Baron fight.
I mean, you just can't let the enemy jungle watch you take down Baron as if he's birdwatching, the same reference I made before. Person goes down, it's the Janna. Lex tries to kite, but at this point, it just has lifesteal. Doesn't really have any steroids, can't get through any of the frontliners. Hecarim shows in just for a bit of burst damage onto Smurf, which is not the ideal target, but it's the only one left. And the triple kills register for Gragas.
Yeah, and often you talk about these junglers picking up kills as having a negative effect, and you sort of want all of your gold onto your carries and things like that. That hasn't been the case this game, Papa Smithy. We've got a 10-0-14 Gragas. And
it's our first free farmed Gragas, though. You have to say it's our first massive Gragas. We've seen other champions, junglers get farmed. Maybe the likes of Lee Sin, who Gragas, of course, is always compared to in a lot of ways in recent patches. The difference with Gragas, he does a lot of interesting things with the gold. He gets super tanky, and he does have steroids. Like, he has the percentage health damage coming through from the Drunken Rage.
Yep.
He has quite high base damages on his abilities, and he has that passive. So if he has a high health pool, then, of course, the passive coming through from the Happy Hour is going to keep him sustained and topped up. It's not like he's doing massive burst. He's just always there, always has CC, has multiple CCs on his kit and repositions, and then just does the consistent damage to the Drunken Rage procs.
Yeah, well, it's Obviously, he's pretty difficult to kill on this map because, of course, hasn't died just yet. The only immortal member still on this map.
Big question mark, Atlas. Does he have the most damage dealt in his team?
Oh, we'll have to see.
Post-game, we'll try and find a time to find that out.
Look, I have a feeling that he probably won't, but that's just me.
He'll be dangerously close, which is crazy on a full tank Gragas.
It most certainly is, but I mean, we haven't mentioned the fact that Zycro is sort of the star player for KLG that we've spoken about quite a lot. This bottom lane generally very, very strong, especially domestically. 7, 4, and 14. He's been having a pretty good game himself.
And look, apologies to Sivir players in general. I kind of look past their exploits.
Yeah, you just say, you're an ultimate.
You pressed your ultimate. You did some buttons. It was good.
Yeah.
If your tanks are strong enough, it'll all work out because they'll be super fast and gap closing. But Sivir can do some impressive things. I mean, the spell shield mechanics is the one thing that have stood out. Radiant from the Chiefs actually struggling with the spell shields. They've actually been pretty on point from Zycro in team fights. And Sivir has a lot of CC to respect. Remember, as a short-range carry, have to respect the Orianna, have to respect the Maokai, but it's been navigating these fights smartly. And that ultimate, it just really helps Julio Steto just pull off the amazing carry performance we've seen this game.
Yeah, not to mention Helior as well, who's really able to get into this fight, decides that he wants to opt out of picking up a Frozen Heart, going for a GA very early on.
Well, they have a Frozen Heart, so it's not the big rush, but I could understand
the 20% cooldown reduction, though.
Exactly. The selfish stats, it's just such a fun item to build on tanks. 2450 gold, so it's pretty cheap, as we see not the most exciting battle up top.
Yeah, the Maokai into Hecarim
So do you think that Hecarim was devastating charge away because of fright or to really get fast to the red buff?
Yeah, just really wanted that red buff. I think it's all about
It wasn't the Maokai.
Yeah, no. Although, you know, Symphony, no, still probably not scary enough.
No, it's not full damage Rex. No Tiamat coming through. We've seen it.
Yeah, love to see it again. We'll see
Maybe not
Symphony's
right now.
Pick it up
I don't know if the extra
time.
damage on Rek'Sai will work out this particular game.
Well, we'll see as Helior is going to continue split pushing here on the top side. There's a lot of vision here for KLG. They've shut Hard Random out of their jungle entirely. There is a gigantic gold lead, 14,000
Righteous
gold.
glory.
Yeah, Smurf looking for the desperation play, but KLG going to wander lazily away from Hard Random. But they do have position around this turret, this dragon. They are going to give up their base for it, though.
They need to make a move. I mean, rushing towards the dragon, they're going to give it at minimum their inhibitor. Actually, Hecarim's changed target, trying to look to finish the game.
Yeah, he's taking down Nexus turrets here. There are super creeps tanking them up. Lex trying to take down the dragon here as the first Nexus turret falls down. Dragon's going to go to Hard Random, and now all 5 members need to get out of here because Hecarim is going to win the game. Symphony does make it back. Smurf gets chunked out, but Helior, he's ignoring Symphony completely. It's a decent shockwave, just tickling the members of KLG. It's Reggie in a bit of trouble. Nice shield to come through from that Dark Passage as Helior. He's tanking up the turret. It is so incredibly low. Isn't going to fall down though, but Julio Cito coming through. Zycro flashes over the wall as there's the onslaught of shadows from Helior. He's going to get rendered, not quite dead just yet as Lex does manage to pick up the kill there on the backside. The rend sets are actually coming through here as Hard Random. He's going to get flashed on again with the body slam as Lex gets slowed down, but Julius Tito not going to be able to follow through on that one. They're going to take the inhibitor down for the next time, and I believe that's why Helior had to escape.
But very precarious is that Nexus turret. They do take down the inhibitor. You can see that with the Gragas kill credit coming through on that structure. They'll back away. Julio Steto tried to pull off the fancy plate, did it, but of course, late in the game, the base damage is not as high on Gragas, so the damage finally not being registered through on Lex. I mean, the thing for me, though, is that Lex's build, unfortunately, with the lack of steroids, it's kind of the problem with Kalista is that you don't opt into the Hurricane. If you go for a single target build, which he has with no Hurricane, you just fall into this situation where you're not a traditional carry. You don't have Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper that scales off AD, crit, and attack speed. So your single target damage is minimal. You're very sustained. He's got 35% lifesteal coming through from this build with the Doran Blade. But that's the only thing, is that he's like slowly whittling down on whoever he can safely auto, which is a short-ranged AD carriers, the likes of Gragas and Hecarim, that laugh at the damage coming through. He doesn't have a rend set potential. He doesn't have any storage to kill a tank. This build, I think you just either go Phantom Dancer and go for a single target damage build with the Bloodthirster first, or you just opt into the Hurricane, because at the present point, unfortunately, he's just not really doing anything.
Yeah, it's sort of like he's caught in between two different options here that if he had have gone for either one of them, it would have been good. But in the end, it turns out that Zycro actually going to be more of a hyper carry here on the Siva
But look at the
rather
items.
than the Callista. Yeah, it's ridiculous. 4 items strong already as Reggie is going to land the chain, but not going to get the snare as Julius Tito is going to tank up that sapling. They're looking to engage as Helior in on the backside. Lex just getting torn apart by the boomerangs. Demonco does fall down. Symphony now solo. And man, KLG just running all over this fight. Reggie, the fadeaway chain going to come through. Smurf is going to fall down. Another triple kill for Julius Tito. And this Gragas is stupid.
And I don't see how KLG will be able to keep their title as underdogs after a very impressive performance like this. Didn't get the 5th Dragon, but got the Baron, pushed with their mid-game comp. They tried to scale up at hard random, but no scaling allowed as KLG take it down.
Yeah, KLG just looking so powerful at the end of that one. And man, 18,000 gold lead, everything going right here for the Latin American team. And 1 and 2 now, the comeback begins. And I have a feeling that we may be seeing them pick up a few more victories because, man, that looks good. And Hecarim, still 100% win rate. Guys, ban that champion. He's silly.
It's 7-0 out of 9 games now. You'd think people are getting the hint. Some teams banning it towards the end of yesterday. You can see the celebration coming through, matching Hard Random's 1 and 2 score with a very impressive performance. But I have to say, you give Hecarim and Siva over to a comp, and that's the result. You get the synergy that comes through. It was a very nice LeBlanc performance after what was a very trying laning phase. But that deletion onto Orianna over the base wall, leading to the turret dive, was what really blew open the game for KLG. So although Reggie, the laning phase, not his favorite time, did actually still manage to justify the Orianna pick. It's the unique thing about her, is her ability to do that assassination safely in such crazy circumstances.
Yeah, the damage calculations there when they were skirmishing around the map was really beautiful to see coming through from Reggie. And despite the fact that he may have had sort of a difficult time last hitting in lane, fell behind by about 50 CS around the middle stages of that game, it didn't really matter because he was able to make up for that gold by getting all of the kills that he needed to in the mid to late game.
And the Callista build, I think, was just a big problem.
We probably shouldn't even talk about it anymore because, man, it was silly.
Exactly. You have to go, basically you have to commit. And that's the one thing. Let's talk about these two teams. KLG, they're all about the commitment. Let's go turret dive, all 5 members. Let's drive. You see 3 members diving. Siva just flashes over the base wall. Let's go. Let's fight. I don't have any more escapes. I got a spell shield, though. That might be useful.
Yeah.
But
spell shield, the turret. Oh, wait,
commitment definitely there for the Brazilian team and the Latin American team when it comes to turret diving. And so if you're of one mind, those turret dives will work more often than they don't, just because enemies are taken back by the aggression that's being shown.
Yeah.
But on the other side, Callista not committing to the single target, but we've seen some people have success with Bloodthirster into either Shiv or Phantom Dancer into Last Whisper, doing your best single target damage. But as a single target build, when you don't have Hurricane Callista fiercely single target, going double Bloodthirster and attack speed, you just can't ever kill a tank. And when you see Julio Tito with 1 million kill participation.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you supposed to do as a short-range AD carry?
Yeah, it's Cinderhulk as well as the Locket. I believe there was a Frozen Heart.
He just had all the
there.
tank items. Let's be real.
Yeah, okay, so he went to the shop, clicked on health, and then said, all right, looks like
I think he misclicked armor and magic resist a few times, but he went back to health. Don't worry about it.
I think there was a health in a bit of those ones. I guess Frozen Heart doesn't have any. But man, he had a lot of items in his inventory is the moral of that story. And let's have a look at a replay and just see how stupidly tanky that Gragas was.
So this is the 3rd dragon fight coming through here. I imagine Julio Tito will be involved. Only 1 kill at this point, but plenty of kill participation. 100%. He fell away from this point. Sorry, guys.
Oh, man,
so we'll roll the tape. KLG already had 2 dragons down. It looked like HR Hard Random had picked up enough items to really opt into this fight. They get the pick onto Smurf, of all people, which shouldn't have been a big consideration. And KLG, one of the small things I'd mention is that in this fight, their attempts to actually choose targets were pretty muted. They get the Orianna, which was the important pick. After LeBlanc wasn't good, then got the assassination. Then Zycro's auto-attacking one person. Julio Tito's onto Kira. They don't get the kill to start the fight, but when Orianna goes down, things just look really good for the 2v3 members. And Reggie in particular, this is where 20 minutes in, he finally had a very impressive performance because he's so low on health already. Smurf, crucially, no mana at this point, but the assassination onto Symphony with the information that he had from the ward was already impressive, and the kiting coming through from this long engage. Basically, he would have died to an auto attack and an arcane smash. That was how little health he had. He didn't have any base stats, didn't have any magic resist, or you can see that. That's the arcane smash. Just one auto but keep Smurf interested. No way he'd get out. Julio Stedo had a lot of mana, health, and the blue buff, and it was enough for them to win in a 2v3 situation.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This guy just had more consistent damage, I guess, but it was just the fact that he managed to last so long in every single one of those early skirmishes. And Gragas, I mean, the fact that you can take these tanky junglers, it's sort of why we're seeing the Warrior Enchant fall out, is because you just don't have the staying power in any of these extended fights.
I guess that's why we see a lot more Cinder Hulk Rek'Sai on this patch 5.7 than we do Warrior Rek'Sai. And there were some trades where you got a solo kill onto the Sivir where it looked like it might be a decent purchase, but that's the reality. When something is being called a death cap for health, it's giving you percentage bonus health on every purchase. It obviously means you're going to scale better, and that was the reality. No one could ever kill the Gragas, and his base values and his high health and mana pool meant that he was always relevant.
Yeah, well, we are going to go to another replay, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at this one because Julius Tito this time with a bit over 2,000 health, and this is at the stage where it was getting a bit ridiculous.
So the gold lead is decent. It's 4.6k at 25 minutes. They've already got the 3 dragons, so Sivir, Hecarim loving the extra dragons. The synergy comes through. So Symphony was caught at this point when we roll the tape. He's caught, but, you know, he's able to back away. It looked like things might go okay. They popped the On the Hunt, though, and the aggression that was the trademark of KLG comes through. Julio still just decides to kill Symphony because he can do that. He's Gragas.
Yep.
They back away through the fight. Helio's taking a lot of damage. At this point, Lex is free hitting, but remember, his build is not ideal. He's basically only got lifesteal and some daggers to show for it, and he's just not doing any damage despite still being completely topped up. You have to watch the fact that now he's got, what, 5, 6 of those Ren stacks into Lex, and Julio Stedo just doesn't care.
Yeah, Julio Stedo didn't care throughout that entire fight. It was just walking at whoever he felt like killing.
And if you don't have steroids and you don't have AoE, that's the result, is that you're just an afterthought. They don't even have to prioritize killing Lex.
Yeah.
As they just killed everyone else and got him last.
Yeah, well, we do have an interview with a member of KLG standing by.
You guys feel?
Well, yesterday we didn't feel that confident because, of course, we lost the two games. But right now, I think this victory will lead our team to a better morale. I don't know the exact word, but we will feel much better right now, of course, and it will help the next games to, you know, have more communication, have a better attitude, and I think we will have better results with this first win.
So the Baron was the breaking point of your game. Who made the call? And my other question is, can you tell us about your team structure?
Well, I don't really remember who made the Baron call, but most of the calls, I do them with Sacred, AD carry. And yeah, like you said, it was a breaking point, I think. Also, well, the structure of the team. Do you mean by the composition? Or
Yeah.
We analyzed the game of yesterday. Of course, everybody knows that Hecarim is a very strong pick, at least in this tournament, so we didn't want to miss it and take the opportunity when we had the first pick. So yeah, that was the pretty much every pick that we picked this game. We took them from the teams that played yesterday because Sivir had a very high win ratio, so did Gragas, so did Hecarim, and we tried to mix them all to make a good composition.
So it was your first win in the tournament. Can we say that KLG is back in business?
Yeah, like I said before, when you get the first win, you have a better attitude for the upcoming games, and I think we are prepared. We were prepared. If for the people that doesn't know the Latin American scene, we were well known for our draft. We had a very good pick and ban phase, and we didn't show that yesterday, but we changed. We lost the style that we had before, and we did it today. It worked, and I think if we keep doing that, we will have much better results.
Thank you for the interview. Guys, thank you too. Now back in Khan.